Hello, y'all. I'm Kimile.
And I'm Gretchen. We are starting over. We're starting over. The name of the podcast is Starting Over.
That's right.
I appreciate y'all being here. One of the things I want to talk about, fresh in the news, is the resignation of Miss USA and Miss Teen USA this week.
Yes.
This is the first time that this has ever happened, to my knowledge. These girls have about 3 months left in their reign, and they both have had to sign an NDA
in perpetuity. Unheard of.
Yeah.
Continue.
And so I want to talk about this because Kimile is a mediator, so she knows legal sides, plus being in your profession of counseling.
Yeah.
You know, here you have these young girls. First of all, Noelia Voigt, she is from Utah. She won Miss Utah and competed on the USA stage and won.
Yeah.
7 years, Kimile, she worked to win this title. You cannot tell me that this girl wants to all of a sudden just give it up with 3 months left.
Absolutely not.
This has been a dream for a long time.
That's right.
Okay.
And she's earned it.
And she has earned it. However, in her resignation statement, she basically couldn't go on and say why, other than she has to take care of her mental health.
Well, I can see why now.
Right? So then on NBC, her resignation letter was discovered a little bit more. And actually, this is kind of interesting. So the first few sentences of her letter, the first letter of each of the sentences spells out, "I am silenced."
Wow.
So the social media director quit before these girls did. And she was the only one that did not sign an NDA.
This is a scandal.
She did not sign an NDA, so therefore she's like, I could no longer work with the toxic environment and the way that these girls are being treated.
Absolutely.
These title holders are being treated. So she has been a saving grace as far as at least giving somebody some kind of an understanding like what is going on. So I promise I'm going to let you talk. I'm just trying to fill the story in.
No, the backstory is important. That's, people don't know. Yeah.
So on the NBC report, it goes on, Noelia, it goes on to give a couple of examples. This is the one that brought me to tears. In December, she was in Florida at an event. She was left in the car alone with a man.
Oh, jeez.
When I was Miss USA, guys, we had a travel companion with us at all times.
As you need to.
Other than when we slept in our hotel room, which, you know, she had her own room and we had adjoining doors, right?
Sure.
Miss USA is in a car with a strange man who is making sexual comments about a relationship he'd like to have with her.
Oh, my gosh.
So when she went and said something to the owner of Miss USA, which her name, Miss USA organization, her name is Layla Rose. When she went on to say something, the comment was something to the effect of, you just need to get used to this.
Oh,
this is
my
what's going to
goodness.
happen, and I can't control what people are going to say.
Okay.
So sexual harassment basically was happening, and this young girl in her 20s reports it to her boss, and that's the answer she got.
Wow.
If I were the parent and
Wow.
that were my child,
I'd be outraged.
you're damn right I
Yeah,
would.
that wouldn't be the last they'd hear from me.
Oh my gosh, this is a child that's a young woman that's afraid
Yes.
that some man making inappropriate
And
comments.
You get used to it. You get used to that. Come on. Wow.
Is that what she signed up for?
And,
Really?
and what an example to set for anybody else that's going to be in the public eye like this.
Well, here's the thing. The Miss USA, the whole purpose of Miss Universe, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA is an empowerment of women.
That's right.
Let women have a voice. And now you're not going to defend
Yep.
somebody who, I'm sorry, I don't know who that man is. And how dare you say that?
Yeah.
And you're not jumping all over that?
Well, who are they protecting? See, that's what this looks like. Is there's a cover up happening here? Okay, and these girls are getting hung out to dry.
Yeah.
That's what's infuriating to me.
So there's a book out now I just read. Oh, I took it out of my purse. It's written by Chesley Christ and her mom. Now, Chesley Christ was Miss USA 2019 who jumped to her death.
Yeah.
And
Horrible, sad
2022.
story.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So, but her suicide had nothing to do with like a bad experience at Miss USA. She was just high functioning depression.
Yes.
And even though, I mean, she's an attorney, she was a practicing attorney in 2 states. She was
Brilliant
Miss USA.
girl. Yeah.
She was an extra correspondent. I mean, she was only 30 years old.
Yeah.
You know, but nobody really knew this was going on. And now you have Miss USA and you have Miss Teen USA that are basically saying, I don't align with the integrity of what this company is doing. No,
Right.
I can no longer be a part of this. And Miss USA is saying, I'm sorry, I need to look after my mental health. Are we going to have another situation where you have a young girl that can't take it anymore?
Right. That's what my concern is. That's my concern.
And so Layla Rose apparently made, according to this this statement, made fun of her. She quotes it, mental illness.
What?
Yeah, and Noelia was.
Well, I kind of want to say that's hello, kettle. My goodness.
Well, you know, to me, y'all, this is May is mental
Health awareness.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's a serious. I mean, this is serious. Obviously, this is something that's going. It's a condition. It's a
honey.
disease.
Well,
it is
and
real.
even if there's not a condition, you got to look at something. For her to even be that disrespectful, you are that age and you have this kind of a scandal going on. I don't care how old you are. Okay, this impacts you at a huge. This is a huge hit. Okay, for your self-esteem. You're not going to be able to process this by yourself. These girls need to be able to talk about this.
They do.
And
They do.
process it and deal with it. Oh wow, there's so much I need to say.
It is really it's a sad downward spiral that the Miss USA organization has been suffering for a few years now, and not just with this situation, but another previous owner who, that was a whole debacle of sexual wrongness that was going on, and the sad thing is, and you've been to these pageants, right?
Absolutely.
You've judged some. These state directors keep giving amazing girls that are going to these national pageants, right? They are really top-notch girls. Now how are these state directors supposed to, how do they continue their business knowing, what am I sending my girls to?
Well, exactly. No, it's a black eye. This is a black eye on the whole organization. And then you're going to lose followers. You're going to lose respect. You can't have no integrity and expect people to continue to trust the organization.
How do you help, Kimile, as a counselor? How do you help girls that have gone through this kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, you have to address what is happening. First of all, there's a trauma and a cover-up. There's something happening that if they're silenced, there's a reason they're silenced. Who's behind is getting covered up here? What is being covered up?
So with that thought, before you go on,
Yep.
this NDA was signed like right after they won.
Well, of
So
course.
to me, I'm like, what do you? NDAs, y'all. Anybody in business, we know what that's about, right?
yeah.
That's a protection. We got it. But there's a reason. Like, you're not going to steal somebody's idea or invention, stuff like
Copyright,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, we get that. But you have 2 fresh young girls that just won, and now you're going to sign this NDA in perpetuity for life, for life.
That's incredible. That's by the way, that's not. I doubt that can be enforced legally. I really think that's almost an illegal contract. That just seems outrageous to me.
How would these girls even get counseling if they can't talk about it?
Well, exactly. Okay, but again, that's where. And by the way, counselors have confidentiality. They must maintain confidentiality. So they probably could talk to a counselor and not have it be a breach because it wouldn't be known. But they're going to not know that. They need to be able to express themselves and deal with the trauma of this. But this is no different than a perpetrator, okay? Just parallel it to a perpetrator, harming you and saying, now, if you say anything, you're going to have a consequence you're not going to like, or I'm going to hurt someone you love. That is just like what perpetrators do. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what it reminds me of. And that's what probably reminds most people of is something's going to happen and you can't talk about it. You can't tell anybody. In the world of addiction, by the way, this is when addiction starts. You're as sick as your secrets. And so now these girls have a secret. and they're silenced. They can't talk about it. So how are they going to deal with it? Well, they're going to have to turn to somehow self-medicating, because if they can't share about this, they can't self-express. They have to stuff that. They have to hold that in. That is the most unhealthiest thing they could ever do.
Well, what's happening with Miss USA, and she wrote in this statement, she goes into Miss Utah, she goes into Miss USA, she's physically fine. Now she's been diagnosed with anxiety. She's on 2 medications. She's involuntarily losing weight. Her body has tremors and shakes.
Wow.
She is clearly physically, and
That's trauma.
This is right. Trauma. That's a classic case of your body reacting to trauma. And some of the other stuff she says, she says Layla made a comment. So Noelia had an appearance at a baseball game. She was going to throw out an opening pitch.
Yeah.
And according to this statement, Layla said, "I hope she gets hit in the face."
Oh my gosh. She said that?
Yeah.
This woman needs...
She needs to be like...
Oh my gosh.
Talk about being silenced. Come on.
That is so outrageous. She covering
threatened
up?
to withhold paying Noelia her salary.
This is classic bullying. Yeah, this is classic bullying. What is she hiding? What is she covering up herself? See, she's just outing herself. She's telling on herself right there. You see that people are going to look at that and say, "What? That's an obvious. What's she got going on?" Girl?
Actually, and it's interesting because there's no comment. The only comment she's really made is something general about, the Miss US. And I'm not quoting her. I'm just saying something general about. It is my desire to basically support all young women in their voice and to make sure they're healthy. And if she needs to back down for her mental health, we totally support that and wish her well. But
or we want her to do that so she doesn't, out us.
So the New York Post today just had an article because she's not talking. So of course the press is going to find something to talk about.
I'm glad they are.
So they're pulling up her past.
I'm glad they are.
Her past is not Mother Teresa, as it's quoted. You present yourself like you're Mother Teresa. It's not.
Who? The girl or
the
Layla?
Owner? Layla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad they're at least getting some truth out there. Good.
And to me, I'm like, Layla, you're kind of putting yourself in a corner. If you don't understand the press, like if you don't give them something, you've got a story that's coming out. Yeah. You've got history being made where 2 title holders are giving up their title. In the same week, and they're silenced. They can't talk and say why. What do you think they're gonna go in your past?
Well, I'm really happy that the reporters are at least trying to investigate this. And this, I'm saying, is Layla's clearly on the wrong side of this. She's backing the wrong people. She's covering her tracks. And this is probably not the first time. This is what's sad. She's a historical figure in this world. She's been doing this for how many years? Would you say?
Not long.
No,
she's only had this franchise for less than a year.
Okay.
This is her first.
Okay.
This is her first.
Okay.
Which is why so many people in the pageant community are outraged. It's like, how can you take this 72-year-old brand and run it in the ground in less than a year?
Yep.